All right, we'll get going. So, welcome everybody to the breakout room. Today, we're going to have a discussion about how Web3 is changing the employer and employee relationship paradigm. How Web3 is opening up opportunities for individuals to build reputation and kind of create careers that look different from traditional careers where you work for the same company for 30 years and you're part of this hierarchical structure where you go up it as you get more tenure. We think about this a lot because we are co-founders of a DAO tooling protocol on Cardano called Clarity, and we think that blockchain is really driving this kind of gig economy to a new level because people can kind of be their own, control their own reputation, and people can be specialized in one thing and do this one thing for one project, and then once they complete it, another project will probably need that same specialized knowledge. Just to get conversation going, Justin, I know you like to draw the metaphor between the film industry and Hollywood and how DAOs might and Web3 might revolutionize that employer and employee paradigm. So if you want to talk about that a little bit, and then we can just open it up and we can chat about this.
Yeah, like Logan said, just an example that I really like of just, how kind of DAOs could look in the future is just looking at how kind of the film industry works and Hollywood works, where, each kind of person is in charge of their own career and they all kind of specialize in something, whether that's, being a cameraman or being a writer or an actor. And, these kind of independent people come together, they work on a project. So in that case, it's a film. For the lifetime of the project, they get together, all do what they specialize at, contribute, and then release it, and then move on to the next thing. And I think that that's a really good kind of encapsulation of what the potential of DAOs kind of are for regular companies. If we could somehow capture that ability for people to be able to come through, contribute to DAOs in ways that they're, maximally beneficial to the DAO, and then, move on to the next project where they can contribute maximally. So it gets the most out of the individual and, benefits the company the most.
Yeah, so we can open up the floor. Really, this conversation is just surrounding, Web3 and how employment might look in Web3. I know that for me, that there's a lot of experts that are passionate about one very niche thing that a lot of projects need. They don't necessarily need to dedicate all their time to one company like we see in legacy structures, but instead they can maybe work with 5 different early stage startups and work part-time on those, whether their specialty is in creating legal structures for DAOs, that type of niche thing, or maybe their specialty is building community and moderating Twitter spaces or whatever it may be. But yeah, would love to talk and hear more perspectives about how Web3 is just changing the future of work and how Web3 has the ability to change it.
Hello guys, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Coming through.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm new in this space, so I'm here to learn. So I don't have much to say. So yeah, but it sounds interesting, like the concept of not working in one place, having multiple work, I would say. Sounds like a very interesting concept. Because you don't have to dedicate your life into one employee, but you can, apply different skill sets in different industries that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And, kind of going along with that, and maybe people have ideas about this, but is the idea of reputation and being able to prove, I am good at this. So, if we had sort of a system for somebody to say, I'm really good at contributing, front end development to projects. and then they had some sort of reputation, based on prior commitments and how, how good those commitments were. If they had a reputation built in based on that, then, you could even allow DAOs to decide who they should allow contributions from, based on people's reputation writing other code. So that may be another thing to talk about if anybody has ideas about, reputation and how that could work into kind of gig economy ideas.
I don't know if this is a boring topic or people are just really deep in thought. But I don't know, when I think of this topic, the reputation is one of the biggest parts. And I think another big part is how, with decentralized organizations, you have a community, and this community comes together to talk about problems that they need solved. And if they're able to quickly create a bounty, and then a specialized expert can have a marketplace where they can find this bounty and complete it, it just creates this collaborative and flywheel of innovation where people don't have to, have those long tenures to be able to make a name for themselves. Instead, they can show a track record of success in a certain niche, and do this for many different types of projects. So I think that's pretty fascinating. What's up, Newman? You came on camera.
Hey, yep. I was like, I want to listen in. I want to hear a great conversation. And then we're just like, everybody's being quiet. But that's just because the ideas are percolating, because Justin blew us away with the film model. I think it is the film model. I think that's a really wonderful place to start. And what I immediately thought of, and if you'll allow me, because I do have a negative bias. I'm like, well, what's the problem with the old way? And the transition for, like, what is blockchain? What is the value in Web3? Because the content creators and the YouTube sort of group, like content creators, we make videos every day and we watch them and they're great. And then they get all that advertising money. That's like a thing. Like, where does the money go? You can follow the money, and they get a good career out of it. But then something happens and they say the wrong word, and then they get deplatformed, and their audience is just tied to Twitter, YouTube, or one of these big siloed sort of things. So that's where I see the benefit of Web3, because there is at least the potential that we can, in the peer-to-peer, unstructured, that hierarchical way of doing things. At least there's some benefit to that, but I don't know if that's still conceptual. I don't know if Clarity has like that in mind, or if the other DAO tools has like that use case. Like, I want, because here I'll talk from my experience. Like, I want to do work, but I don't want to just work in an organization that then just, since or you know what I mean? Is that enough to sort of spur some convo?
Yeah. Well, when I think of it, when we talk about the gig economy and freelancer right now, Web 2, when I think of Web 2 versus Web 3, I think the big difference is, instead of building on top of, a digital ecosystem that big companies own, Facebook, Google, all this, you're building on top of decentralized databases, which, we would call blockchains. And if you think about Web 2 companies in the gig economy, they take a huge cut. Like, when you complete something on Upwork, they take 20% of what the person paid. So there's a huge finder's fee. But all of a sudden, when you can build a reputation away from those Web 2 companies, and you can, verify that this girl or this guy's reputation is great, and they can complete this job for the DAO, and you can have a new type of gig economy start to emerge on decentralized systems. I feel like that's when this really comes into play. And it's funny, I think we're very early to this. Like, not many people are thinking about this. Not many people even know what blockchain or crypto, represents in a deep sense, in a transformative sense. But at the same time, someone's got to pioneer it. Someone's got to make it happen, because I do believe it's a better way.
Something else that I think may tie into kind of what you're saying is, I do think that there's definitely a rise, especially in younger generations, of that kind of idea of like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna freelance. I'm gonna, I'm gonna be a content creator. I'm gonna make money my own way, and not, just go work for a corporation right out of college and work there for the next, 40 years. So I do think that it's becoming, more common for people to be looking for ways to contribute to these projects. And I think being able to capture that is kind of, the big idea here, and being able to allow those kinds of people to, contribute. And I do think, there's definitely a line to walk. Maybe part of what you were bringing up has to do with how much power you're in theory turning over to your community. So we all think of a DAO, and it's completely community driven. Maybe in the example of the content creator that you were giving, that content creator doesn't want to give complete autonomy over the stuff that they make to their community, but they want a lot of community input on some guiding ideas that they have. Maybe they have like a list of ideas for topics that they could cover in a video, and the community could vote on which one of those. I don't know, just like throwing out ideas. But in theory, what I'm saying is, I think that there's ways to leverage blockchain, and leverage the reputation of people on a blockchain, without necessarily having to route that through what we think of traditionally as a DAO.
So blockchain without sort of, I thought it follow along, but then but not having to route the work. Like it seems like a DAO, the benefit would be like it coordinates like those structures and relationships, like it coordinates the work, like the individual's work,
Mm-hmm.
or and like self-management, or and then we're talking about here as like reinventing organizations. There's a book that sort of made the rounds. Are you all familiar with that one? And one of the
Yeah.
concepts in there is self-management. And then there's one other that I was thinking of. Yeah, but there's a few concepts in there, and tools and sort of ways of just organizing people, because that's what it is, right? It's just organizing people, organizing effort and value, and we've got this way of doing it, these legacy working systems in companies and such. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
I think it definitely. Go ahead. Sorry.
well,
Hi,
I guess
no, sorry. Hi, guys. Can
jump
I
in
add
there.
up
Yeah,
to
yeah, get in
something?
there.
I was just thinking, maybe I'm not so much into the phrases because I'm still learning a lot. My friends are very deep into crypto and into everything, but I was kind of avoiding because I'm coming from a totally different world, from a different realm, even though I'm currently connected to a company which is making a lot of money, and I'm very much business oriented, but as well I'm very much spiritual, and I'm doing like a different kind of energy work, and I'm a yoga instructor and everything. And based on that, I really wanted to bring this to the company. But since you were talking about changing the mindset and everything, I'm like kind of studying the blockchain and everything what is connected throughout the spirituality. And it's kind of like now it's very visible in energy, how we are changing our energy in a way that we are taking our power back and we are taking the responsibility for our own life. It's not like you are inside of the company, you are a little rat running every month, you know how it goes, you are getting the salary, and this is it. And now people are really awakening, and it's just especially young people, for us, for me, for example, it's not normal that someone is capping me and this is something that I can earn and then this is it, So, and what you were talking about, creating a reputation, which I also kind of witnessed with myself, is even the reputation can be created. If you have a lot of money, you can pay, you can pay ads, you can do whatever, and you can create yourself in a way as you want to be seen, and through the entire technology and everything that we are doing right now, I just kind of have a feeling like everyone is the creator of its own life. And this is what you, Justin, said. It's not that you are only like a cameraman or you are a director or whosoever. You can be whatever you want. And this is where I'm mostly like attracted to. And every time when I come to these kind of gatherings, even though I haven't been a lot in the Catalyst community, I'm sensing the energy, and the energy is just incredible. It's really from the heart, and it's really open, and it's really something that I want to be part of. So now mainly my only goal is now to learn more, because me and my friends had an amazing project that we wanted to put in, but somehow it did not work in this round. So hopefully, fingers crossed for the next round. But my only goal is really to bring all of the knowledge that I have gathered over the years throughout spirituality, throughout different kind of techniques, breathing techniques, energy works, and so on, to this, because I have witnessed many of my friends who are doing like deep work in the blockchain, whether they were doing trading or mining or whatsoever, and you have a burnout, because you are kind of building yourself from a scratch, so that's why I just wanted to share these insights, even though I'm not maybe 100% with you with all the terms and with everything, but it's just like I'm just like into the energy, and it's incredible. And I just like seeing your enthusiasm right now and seeing you just talking like this, it just gives me goosebumps. So thank you, really.
Well, thank you. I can feel the positive energy radiating off of you as well. And
and I'm not into my best shape, because currently I'm just in bed dying before sleep, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, you captured on, or a lot of what you said resonated with me. It's like I really do feel like there's this huge paradigm shift happening.
Yes, definitely.
Blockchain
Gives me goosebumps, I swear.
Yeah, like blockchain is at the center of it, but the reason it's at the center of it is because for the first time in human history, you don't have to trust a bank to send money. You don't have to trust the government to build your reputation, and those seem like small deals, but it's such a big deal. I think, and it's bringing about, I don't even think we realize how much it's going to change. Like, we're just kind of pioneering the space. We understand that, wow, people can really take hold of their own destiny with this new technology. And we're starting by, creating DIDs, creating DAO structures, creating different communities that all care about this stuff. So yeah, thanks for chatting. That gave me some energy. I can see the wheels turning. They're turning in my head as well. I really do think that, in the future, a lot more people will be like their own boss, per se. Maybe not like starting a company or being like a full-blown entrepreneur, but be their own boss. They'll be, really good at helping projects figure out tokenomics, and that's like their thing. And they'll work with a lot of different projects to do that. They'll be really good at, finding maybe deal sourcing for different companies, like, and that's their thing. It could be all sorts of, and they might be really good at graphic design, and that might be their thing. And they can like continuously work on what they're passionate about. I see a hand up. Go ahead.
Hi.
Sebastian.
Hi guys and girls.
Hello.
Sometimes I feel that the things I'm from Latin America. So in our regions, sometimes the things are a little bit complicated in terms of opportunities for the young people, for example. And and this region is not the only one. In other regions, for example, Africa, or the east of Asia, in Europe, I know in general, in all countries, in all continents in the planet, there are some regions in difficulties. But sometimes I think that this speech around the freedom and the liberties around work, for example, are over romantic. In my position, for example, with a lack of opportunities, in my case, in my particular case, I found opportunities here in Web3 and here in Catalyst and Cardano. And in my past is full of a lack of opportunities. So in that situation, people like me, in general, many people need like me, resist some kind of unluck or hits, or maybe some hits in life in general, some bad works or some difficulties to simply put meals in the tables of my family in general. But in this, actually currently in this current reality, in this Web3 reality, it's really fascinating. All the possibilities around all of this, and around the things that you can do with a good disposition, with an open of mind. But my point in general is maybe in some places we can do more things with less resources. But I like Web3. Web3 is fascinating in general. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
for chiming in. Go ahead.
I think that's the kind of ideal DAO that does leverage its community properly, is kind of a DAO where you know, ideas can come from anywhere, and no matter where the ideas come from, you know, the best idea is what ends up rising to the top and getting funded and getting executed. And I think that's what's special about Web3 and kind of the whole idea of being permissionless in terms of, you know, submitting proposals and all of that for DAOs, that, you know, if you can nail that, you really can leverage kind of the exponentially growing community and all the intelligence in there, and not just be confined to, you know, your stagnant workforce in a traditional company. Yeah, Newman, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, it seems like every sentence spins off another like huge vista of opportunity. Initially, when Sebastian Pabon was talking, I was like, yeah, the diversity of the, like, all the different languages and the different mindsets and cultures of the people in the community, meaning that we don't have to settle on one dominant culture, that there's this ability for the different cultures and diversity to work together. And then I mean, it's just so, it seems like it's such a huge thing. And then I was thinking, okay, if I go to work for a DAO, or if I work with this mindset, like how does that make, like, how does that prepare me more for this new thing, and sort of spoil me for the old thing, you know, like governance, you know, and sort of being like, yeah, I really kind of want to know the parameters of the game that I'm playing, or like uh yeah, like transparency is a thing. There's just so much of it uh that we kind of, once we kind of realize the way, like if we establish our own working community, a community that's geared towards a work output, um and then we realize the amount of waste that we're doing, you know, the energy of it is it fundamentally shifts. Now, all that makes, you know, it's just, you know, all that is just a bit of a ramble, but I want to know, like, what, I guess, like in the big context, like how, like, I guess it's just gig work and D work, like how to work in a DAO, or how to be a part of, and I know, and I'm asking you guys at Clarity, like what do we need? Where are we in the ecosystem to start working for a DAO, and to sort of like you can get I just worked for a DAO badge, or I just took a job, a
Right.
part-time job at a DAO badge.
Right, well, I can talk on that. So, I jumped into Snapbler about a month ago, and I've been pushing pretty hard for the Cardano native asset as a feature, amongst other things. There are multiple ways to open up opportunity to people that otherwise are from non-traditional backgrounds and don't have the same kind of opportunities as everyone else. As Sebastian said, really push power to the edges by providing opportunities in Web3 in a way that don't otherwise exist, right? When it comes to a DAO and working for a DAO, what we're planning to put on our platform is you can hire developers. So if you're an unfunded project through Catalyst, you can hire developers not through ADA as a native token, but through your own native token, which essentially allows you to give away part of your company in exchange for work. This allows people who've got the talent. We've also got an incubator program within our organization, which helps train up talent in Web3, from Hello World to creating a decentralized exchange or whatever you want to make. And through giving those kind of opportunities and abilities so that people can look at a big list of tasks that lots of different DAOs need and going, well, if I work for this one, I'll get some of Hosky token. If I work for this one, I'll get some of Leaf token, for example, and give them the opportunity to actually jump in, be a part of that organization, that community, and also have I'm part of a DAO, I work for a DAO badge. So that's one technique. We also have other techniques. I mean, we're talking with a large university in Texas about creating opportunities for 100 dreamers. You guys know what dreamers are in America. They're blah, 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 blah. To give them the opportunities to join in on internships as well. So there's lots of different ways you can create that opportunity and create those opportunities. But for the DAO work specifically, I think just education, just getting it out there, bringing people up to par with the skills, but also showing people what opportunities there are to work in DAOs and how to get involved. And we've got a format for that.
That's cool, and that's you as Snapbrillo, like the sort of like getting on for a gig and doing the onboarding process.
Yeah, that's the process, and obviously we're always looking to reach out and partner with other projects in Cardano, whether you're funded or not, because we love to, especially if you're open source, we love open source development work. It's just like a big passion of ours, makes it more accessible to the world, right? And that's just what it's about, it's just about making those opportunities available to more people. And we're growing, we started growing slowly, but you can see I'm Snapbrillo Turbo now, so growth is going to explode very shortly. Harder, better, faster, stronger, right? But yeah, it's all about knowing that as a Cardano, we're a community of people working together, and using that opportunity to make more opportunities to bring more people in to help work with us to create this decentralized ecosystem that we're all a part of.
Definitely. Sometimes I think about, right, like in the traditional world, you have employers and employees. And then in Web3, you kind of have this term of community members. And these community members are things that are people that are actively a part of the DAO, participating in the community. But these community members they don't have any non-competes. They can be part of whatever DAOs they want to. and they sort of become kind of Web3 consultants. So they bring skills to all these different communities, whether it's a developer, whether I go to Snapbrillia because I'm part of a DAO and we're like, hey, we need a full stack developer ASAP to launch this product, or I go to another DAO that provides a different service. You kind of become like this roaming consultant in the Web3 space. I feel like that's kind of how you like leverage the opportunities in a lot of different ways. And maybe you find one community that you just love, and you can dedicate your time to that, and you like to do that, and your skill set fits what the DAO needs, and that's great. But I feel like there's even more you can do when you think of it as like you're your own kind of consultancy in the Web3 space, and you can build your reputation as you'd like.
In a permissionless way as well. I mean, in the kind of way where you just build it for them. You've got this skill set, you've got this thing, and they want this thing. They incentivize it. You just get involved. You jump in, you build it, and then all of a sudden, you're not only part of the DAO, but you've got a vested stake in the DAO that didn't involve you putting down. Here's the big thing, right? To make these opportunities really global, you might have really great skills and talents, but you might not have capital right now. You might be in a country with unstable economic policy or whatever, right? You might not even be able to onboard into crypto. But if you've got a system where you go, okay, these are my skills, I'll trade them for your native token. It'll take me on 6 hours to do this work. I get a little share of that company. Move to the next one, to the next one, the next one. And that consultants, like you said, it just opens the floodgates for opportunity on that global scale. And when people work together, I think at least when people work together, share a goal and a vision, anything's possible. Anything.
Definitely.
I think that especially for DAOs and this type of organization to be possible, and to get people excited like you're talking about, Thomas, is just having a big purpose. So we read a book that calls it a massive transformative purpose. So something where people are passionate about what the DAO is trying to accomplish, and believe in the future and the vision of that, and the idea of working for equity in a company like that gets them excited. And I think if you can kind of capture that broad excitement of a community and properly leverage the ideas that community has, that's how you grow exponentially. Yeah.
So what,
Newman?
forgive me, I can't, it's hard for me. I'm on my mobile phone and it's hard for me to see like if the hands are being raised or not. So if you have your hands raised, speak now.
No, you're all good.
Okay, go. What is the difference between this model? And again, I like playing this game of like, okay, what this, that we've innovated from something. So what was that thing that was innovated from? Like what so what was this? I guess it's like the startup, model. Like, okay, we have a startup, and then the whole like venture capital sort of fundraising, and then so like how would someone go to work for like a startup versus going to work for a DAO, and then like what was it before the startup, like what was the way that people would go to work or start a company or start an innovation or have some idea. So that's my question. It's just like, this sort of cycle of innovation, and what was it like in startup land, since like internet, and then if you can highlight or speak on that some.
Yeah, I think I mean, to me, the ideal operating model for a DAO, kind of operating it in the ways that we've been talking about, is basically an idea or a problem is presented, and then a community essentially gathers around that problem. So there's different ways that people can contribute to solving that problem. So some people may be able to contribute financially. So maybe for those people, we would give them some governance token, and other people might be able to contribute by working. So we could also give them some governance token, like Thomas was talking about. And then essentially what you could do is allow people to, propose ideas to this problem. So break it up into, mini problems, and then, all work together to solve these mini problems. And, looping back into then what Sebastian was saying, anybody from anywhere that's a part of this DAO can contribute and can propose ideas to, solve these problems. Then the people with kind of a vested interest in this, so that being governance tokens, are able to vote on kind of what solution should be worked on, whether that's, what algorithm should we write, what developer should we hire, whatever it is. And ultimately by doing that, you're taking in, ideas from a much wider variety of people, and kind of the I guess paradigm that you're challenging is just a traditional workforce, so a stagnant workforce where, the problems that an organization are facing are going to be dynamic. So, the problems that we're facing today, we might have the best team to solve those today, but in 6 months from now, we're going to be solving completely different problems potentially, especially if we're part of these exponentially growing organizations that are scaling rapidly and, existing with a massive transformative purpose that are, trying to actually change the way the world works.
If I can follow up on that, like we've mentioned the massively transforming purpose, and that's a phrase from a book. Could we talk more about that? Because it seems like that might be the sort of catalyzing agent, or the little seed that grows the company, from what I understand. Or is that someone's term, or is that from?
I'm in the chapter right now where it talks about
Oh
it.
yeah,
All right, I'm gonna read it for like 5 minutes, and then, or not 5 minutes, like 30 seconds, and then give you some.
You got permission. Which book is it from, though? Which one is it? Reinventing Organizations? No, Exponential.
It was actually, this was a book recommended to us by, I don't know if you know Tom Flynn. He works at IOHK. He's commercial director. I don't know what he does exactly, but we met him at the summit, and he's like, think about Clarity when you read this book, and think about Cardano when you read this book, and like, it's pretty crazy. Definitely recommend it. All right. Massive transformative purpose. Exponential organizations, almost by definition, think big. There's a good reason for that. If a company thinks small, it is unlikely to pursue a business strategy that will achieve rapid growth. Even if the company somehow manages to achieve an impressive level of growth, the scale of its business will quickly outpace its business model and leave the company lost and directionless. Thus, exponential organizations must aim high. That's why when we look at the position statements of existing exponential organizations, we encounter statements of purpose that might have seemed outrageous in years past. So TED, which is like, they do TED Talks and stuff. Theirs is ideas worth spreading. Google, organize the world's information. Singularity University, positively impact 1 billion people. And then Clarity, ours is enable decentralized innovation. So yeah, I think it's a cool concept. I mean, it's just like when you have that MTP that people can get behind, and they really think that if that is accomplished, that will make a big difference in the world. I feel like that's very powerful for any DAO, for any company.
Interesting. So what I take from that is that the goal has to be big enough to sort of work in exponentially. It's not an addition, it's a multiplication. So that it doesn't not necessarily achieve, but yeah, it has to be audacious. The goal has to be audacious to, one, sort of get that viral sort of scope of folk. But yeah, okay, I get it now. That's cool. And then a good resource, exponential organizations for sure.
Yeah, we'll be
and just sorry, just going into explaining, how you're even getting people in the beginning stages, like Thomas was talking about, how these early stage projects and early stage ideas that are trying to be these big DAO, big transformative DAOs, they're not going to have a ton of money always to pay people. And if your end goal as a company is to be a consultancy to 50 companies on Cardano, and that's gonna inspire a lot less people than change the way whatever you're solving works in the world, and then you're inspiring people from all over the world, and that's how you get people excited to contribute to these kind of organizations, in my opinion.
Yeah, that aligning of the why. And then like thinking of Sanja, the person that was speaking earlier about sort of the spirituality part, like that deepness of purpose, that there is sort of a lack of meaning or meaningful participation. It's something that I say, like one metric to measure with a DAO or with any organization is the time to meaningful participation. Like when someone joins our chat right here, and then how long does it take for them to meaningfully participate? Like that, I think, is really an important part, that we all start participating with meaning, and that these big audacious goals. Wait, what's the phrase again?
Massive transformative.
Yeah, transformative. Something with the ability to change, like to really make to go from the old way to the new thing, which I think is really a worthwhile sort of experience, especially if the old way is not working for you. Thus, the sort of like the fringe from so from the non-dominant culture perspective, I think that DAOs need to work with the non-dominant cultural perspective first. Like that's where they need to be centered, because that's where it's not going to work for people that are working absolutely fine in,
right.
Like, there's no need to change. There's no need to transform if you've got I don't know what sector of the economy is working right now, but if you're comfortable in your spot and you're like, oh yeah, I feel comfortable about the value of my house and the security of my job, and that the air and water that I breathe and drink are going to be fine in the future, or there won't be a giant hurricane, or et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I think going back to your original point, where it's like, okay, how did this work in the past? How did it work in, like Web 2? How does it work in Web 3? Like, what did DAOs change? Like, I think personally, the main thing that DAOs change is the ability to draw from like collective intelligence super transparently, where everyone knows what's going on and everyone can provide valuable insights. Like this is like human collaboration at its highest potential. Like, how you read it in the Catalyst thing. The reason that Catalyst is such a big deal is because there's all these disparate perspectives, like putting proposals and thinking about how to change the world. And everyone's coming up with these awesome different ideas. And I think that's what DAOs enable, is this crazy cross-continental collaboration with transparency, like forced into the equation. And I think that's like a transformative kind of concept, that information and organizations can operate completely transparently, because that draws people in. I think that, I think I'm an eternal optimist. Like I'm an optimist, I'll admit it. Like, but I think that the reason blockchain adoption will reach mass adoption is because humans will trust this system more. As the pound goes to crap, as the dollar keeps inflating, as all these different currencies aren't serving their purposes anymore, people are going to be like, well, what do we even trust anymore? And it's going to be blockchain. It's going to be these decentralized databases that you can always know what has happened on them, and how this currency works, and what I can do with this currency. Is it a voting token? Is it a utility token? Can I, there's going to be all different types. Does it give me membership to some sort of special social club? There's going to be all different types of things of value that come to like this Internet of Things type concept.
All right, y'all. I've been in the front. I'm going to move back to the back so that let some other voices come in. I'd love to hear, if you've been lurking in the call, I would love to hear your voice. Please sort of give us any kind of, I'm not taking, this isn't my meeting. Go ahead.
No, you're big.
I like
No,
that.
no, seriously, if anyone wants to pop up, you can bring up a totally different topic. We're literally just chatting about things that we're passionate about, and we're happy to chat about anything anyone's passionate about. So feel free. How long has this been so far, Justin? Like 50 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, 45, 50 minutes. I mean, something that we can talk a little bit about is just the idea. I mean, really what we've been talking about is you know, the idea of incentivizing kind of work, and I think that that's, you know, kind of what is special about DAOs, is that it allows you to create kind of your own incentives depending on, you know, what the organization is looking to get out of the community. So, you know, I think that the organizations that are, you know, leveraging this technology to its fullest in the future are going to be using their communities for, you know, product ideas, product insights, all this stuff, and actually leveraging, you know, work from their community. But you know, maybe an interim step on the way there is you know, just collecting community insights. So even just community governance, I think is a good step kind of on the way to this kind of future of, you know, a different employee employer dynamic, in kind of allowing the community to, you know, be contributing to the DAO or the organization, even if at the beginning it is just through kind of a voting kind of mechanism.
Yeah, I mean, me and Justin talk about it all the time. It's like we're part of this project called Clarity, and we think that success for clarity means that people can join the DAO and make a living by being part of the DAO. Like, we think that would be awesome. And you know, I guess one thing we can keep talking about is just like who we are and what we're building, why we care about this stuff so much. And I'll share screen in a second once it loads. But essentially what me and Justin are part of the Clarity Protocol team, and what we're doing about 6 months ago, I guess I'll tell the story. About 6 months ago, me and Justin were like, we wanted to build a DAO on Cardano. We thought, oh, that would be so cool. We could do this and this and this. And we quickly figured out that it was going to cost a ton of money to build like custom DAO infrastructure on Cardano. And we started talking to other projects, and they were like, yeah, we would love to operate as a DAO, but you know, it's too expensive. We don't really have the resources or access to the Haskell developers. So we were like, okay, this is a problem in the ecosystem. It needs to get solved. We started, you know, proposing in Catalyst, got some funding, started building it. And now we're making kind of a non-technical platform, so anyone can create a DAO, create proposals, vote on those proposals, and have those proposals affect the treasury of the DAO. So yeah, I guess I'll, instead of talking deep about Web3 employment, employee paradigms, I'll show the project a little bit here, share screen, and show you what version 1 will look like. Oh, Justin, are you able to share screen? I don't have host powers. Can you give them to me, maybe?
Yeah, here, let me just I don't know how to. Let me try to give it to you. If not, I can pull up the Figma real quick.
Sounds good. I mean, in the meantime,
We'll see what that does. I don't know what that.
Nah, still the same.
All right.
In the meantime, if you want to learn more about DAOs, and if you enjoyed this type of conversation, we have town hall meetings every week where we talk about topics like this with our smaller community. And Justin's got it up. And I will send information in the chat while Justin clicks through this.
Yeah, cool. So this is just a sneak peek at our kind of V1 that we'll be having. So basically, this will allow you to find different DAOs that exist on our platform. You'll be able to click into the DAO and see information about it. So you can see information specific to how the governance on this DAO works. So this is all things that you'll set up on our platform. You can see information about the treasury, kind of the assets that they hold, and you can engage with the proposal. So this is a kind of example of how a DAO could, in theory, propose an idea to take community work, and then other people could create proposals to say, hey, here's my reputation, like I could do this development work for you. So people could come on to this, they could view the proposal, they could vote. So that's just kind of how this might tie into stuff that we've been talking about today. But in general, this allows community input. So this is kind of from a user perspective of what it would look like to look through a proposal and decide if you're going to vote for it or not. Some other stuff that you can do is just create your own DAO. So real quick, just information that we collect on the DAO, we just collect a little bit of off-chain information so that people can find you, and we can filter about your DAO and where to find stuff about you. And then these pages are where we start to collect things that will actually affect kind of on-chain information. So these will affect kind of the way that the governance smart contracts of your DAO operate. You can just fill out these forms. Same thing with here, you're just kind of filling out a simple online form, and this is all affecting kind of how long each stage of a proposal pipeline, how long each stage will last. So it allows you to kind of create your own governance system within kind of a predefined template that you're able to access without writing any code. So you submit that, the smart contracts deploy, and you have an active DAO. And then the process of creating a proposal for a DAO is very similar. You come in here, you select what type of proposal you want to create. So for this one, you could say spend treasury funds here. So say I want to do the spend treasury fund proposal template. I can go to create that template and create that proposal. Sorry, computer's loading here. But to create that proposal, you're following a simple online form, just as you would with creating the DAO. So really the goal of this is to be able to abstract away kind of the heavy blocking governance, and allow people to easily create Web3 organizations, and then transparently govern them and make decisions for them in a way that everybody can see the whole history.
Yeah, so all of that is to say, we're building right now, we're building those bottom building blocks of DAO infrastructure. But as this space becomes more, complex, and people are wanting to get, jobs with DAOs, building on top of the infrastructure we're building, we want to make it easy for people to find talent, and really embed ourselves into this Web3 economy and ecosystem. Say there's a community run organization that needs a certain type of expertise. How can we help them find that expertise? How can we help DAOs succeed? How can we help, anyone within our ecosystem, make progress faster? Yeah.
Sorry, Newman, it looked like you were saying something, but maybe you were muted.
I was on mute. I was blown away. This is looking really great. Yeah, it seems like I mean, so once you go through that process, I mean, this is the sort of build, because you're building your own. No, it is a DAO for, like, if I want to create, I've got me and my friends, we all love to practice Qigong and we want to do a DAO with it, and we want to put a bunch of money in and send someone to Qigong training school. And then, like, is all that, I don't know, I mean, is that what's happening here? Like, and then somebody
Yeah.
can make a proposal on the treasury, or to change what we do or our processes. Like, that's sort of the model.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I
so
mean, really, all you need is in version 1, all you need is a policy ID of your governance token, and then you can easily set all your governance rules. And then you can use the templates to create proposals to change those governance rules, or spend treasury funds, or have like a yes, no vote for the community. But yeah, that's what you're seeing. We're trying to just make it really easy to make decentralized organizations building towards that MTP.
So here's a question for the group. Do we like, if we were able to like sneak ahead for 5 years or 10 years, so this would have been like 5 years ago, 2017, 10 years ago, 2012, are DAOs, are there going to be like, is everything going to be a DAO? Are like little things going to be a DAO? Like, or will it be just like, I'm curious to like speculate on the future. Is that what it's set up? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm getting at. Is it like there's going to be like 4 of them? I mean, are they just going to be, everybody's going to have their own DAO?
I have a theory, but I'm going to open up the floor, see if anyone else has anything.
Yeah. What do folks think?
I think, I mean, in my opinion, I think it's just a new type of organizational structure. And I think that the most common people who are adopting it right now are Web3 people. But I mean, I think that it's just each organization is gonna, prioritize its community and prioritize and have different strategies for how ideas in that company and organization surface and are chosen, and different legacy systems. So I think that there's going to be those traditional companies that aren't necessarily switching to a DAO anytime soon. But I do think that the power of DAOs are that they can really challenge those companies, and they can be, a lot more dynamic. And that's kind of the idea of how do we end up in a world where, if we are to end up in a world where a lot of companies are DAOs, or a majority of companies are DAOs, I think step one is having massively successful DAOs that they're these huge organizations that are run using a completely different paradigm to kind of challenge the existing people. Otherwise, I think it's a tough sell until they've seen it work.
Until they've seen it like have a big success. So I wonder what are the most successful DAOs out there right now? Like
Uniswap. Uniswap has to be the most successful.
Muesli?
No, Uniswap.
Uniswap. Oh, on
Ethereum. Yeah, they have like a $2 billion treasury. With DAOs, I mean, it could go in a lot of different directions, but what I think is that in the future, you're going to start to see organizations that create like really strong communities around causes operating as DAOs, and they're going to be making real impact. And then all these legacy companies are going to start to see like, wow, look how they're leveraging their community, and they're going to have their flagship. They're going to have, like, Starbucks will have their company, but they're also going to have their DAO. And Nike will have their company, but they're also going to have their DAO. Manchester United will have their company, but they're also going to have their DAO. That's my prediction. And I think, if you are a company and you, like, the biggest companies in the world, they literally have full like sections of their company trying to disrupt themselves. Like, they're like, okay, like, you 5 people, you are a working group now, try to make a product that's better than what we have now and disrupt us. Because if you don't disrupt yourself, you're going to die. You saw it with Blockbuster, all that type of stuff. So I think that these legacy companies are going to start to quickly realize that, wow, this DAO structure is the best way to get this, what would you call it, like collective intelligence from all the people that actually care about the products we make or the services we offer. That's my theory.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, especially like sports teams or big multinational organizations, companies, Nike and the whatnot, that then they're like, okay, hey, there's this new structure, and then they can do it, and it, yeah. Okay, that gives me something to.
It's just like why? All right, so there's Web 2. Companies had to figure out quickly, like, how are we gonna like change our revenue models to like adapt to Web 2? And as Web 3 grows in mass adoption, they're gonna have to do the same thing with Web 3. And I think that, there's DAOs are just one aspect of how Web 3 will seep into the real world, but I think it's going to be a big way to open up revenue streams for big companies by catering to this younger audience that likes this tech and they believe in this tech.
And it's
also, I think some companies are already doing this, but I feel like the companies that are doing it are like very technical, very like algorithmically based. So you see some companies that will partner with organizations like Kaggle, where they'll provide a big data set and they'll, have anybody be able to, submit a algorithm, and whatever's the best wins. And they end up getting algorithms that are way more efficient than their team could ever build. And I think that, if you extrapolate that along, product design for Nike, and you have, a competition where all of a sudden all the people who love Nike and there's tons of passionate people about Nike. If you're allowing them to, design a shoe, and all of a sudden you have 3 million shoe entries, and the winner of that gets manufactured by Nike, like you're gonna end up with tons of passionate people, forming around that project, and probably people working together and collaborating, and extending upon other people's ideas for shoes, and then extend that upon any industry.
And then like even influential individuals might operate a DAO. I think of one thing that this is kind of a hot, I don't know if it's a hot take. I think that the two-party system is awful. So why couldn't there be a DAO that funds a third party that comes and says, okay, we're operating transparently. We're going to be the party that pushes blockchain voting and pushes, DAOs as legal entities because they can be automatically taxed. And I'm like, someone's got to make this happen because it makes a lot of sense in my head.
Yeah, as like a political party DAO, like the political parties are set up in such a way different from organizations, different from corporations, LLCs, or even B Corps or whatever. That there will be a political party that says, hey, we're gonna, whether it's in Italy or Austria or wherever, Burkina Faso, or some spot will have a political party that uses this structure and leverages it to make like real, like like a real competitive advantage, and then the others will have to follow suit, and then they're like, okay, we've all got to do it.
And then you have free and transparent elections within the DAO. And people are like, why can't I see these live metrics while I vote during the presidential election?
That will make the jump to the government. Yeah, that'll bring jump.
And then the two legacy parties in the swamp are going to be like, oh crap, like if we don't adopt this technology, they're going to know we're scumbags. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
We'll
You guys mesh up my brains. This DAO thing, it just takes my brains and it's like squishes it around a little bit, and I have to take a nap. I'm old, I have gray in my beard, it's nap time for me. But you guys keep building. When I wake up on my map in 15 minutes, I will be ready to go. And I'm really, really stoked. Thank you for hosting it. Just so you know, I'm representing the DAOs Love Cardano Fund 9 Challenge team, and Cardano for Climate and Little Fish, like that. Please come and see us. I really value your effort and your vision and making it happen. So I'm looking forward to seeing you more in the next few weeks.
Absolutely. We'll see you around for sure. Enjoy your nap.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Before we close out, if anyone else wants to add anything, I'll stick on for a minute or two, and then we'll stop the recording.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the conversation. That will be really great conversation.
Awesome, and I'll be in touch with you, Sebastian.
Of course. We want to talk with you and with Clarity, of course, in Gimba Labs. James is really excited about Clarity in Gimba Labs. That
Awesome.
would be really great.
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds good, man. Appreciate you coming and
Excellent.
chatting.
Excellent, man. Bye-bye, Justin.
Bye. Thanks for coming. I'm gonna stop this
Thanks to
recording.
you.
Okay. See you, everybody.